Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Light Side Reactions and Reviews. Today is May the 4th, 2023. Is that the year it is? 2024? Is it 2024 already? My goodness, time is flying. Anyway, it's May the 4th, so May the 4th be with you. In fact, my t-shirt here, May the Lord be with you, had this custom made with the Star Wars font and stuff. But anyway, I don't know if you can see in the background or not, behind me is Asylum Comics on 3rd Street in Marietta, Ohio, where right now they are having Star Wars Day and also Free Comic Book Day. It's the first Saturday of May every year that they have Free Comic Book Day. This is a worldwide thing. I know it's at least all across the United States, and I assume it's in other countries too. But I just came from there. I went ahead and got me a nice haul of comics and stuff from Asylum Comics. Made a donation to the Tri-County Food Pantry, and for every dollar that you donate to the food pantry, you get a free comic book. I went ahead and got a bunch of comics for the kids at church tomorrow, and then I went ahead and made a donation above that also to the food pantry, because doing something for charity, you don't want to just take something, you want to give back. But anyway, Asylum Comics behind me, 3rd Street, Marietta, Ohio. If you're in the area, stop down before the day's over and grab yourself some stuff. They got 3 free comic books just for walking in the door. So you walking in the door, you get 3 free comic books. And then for every canned, non-perishable food item you donate, or for every dollar that you donate to the food pantry, you get an additional free comic book. So anyway, as today is Star Wars Day, of course, they're going to be dropping, Disney's going to be dropping the Star Wars material on YouTube. The trailers for upcoming TV shows and movies. I believe there's a couple episodes coming out on Disney Plus for their new series. Which one is it? The Tales of the Empire, I think it is. So I'll have to check that out. I've got a really busy week, so it may be a few days before I actually get down to sitting down watching those. But those are supposed to come out today. And also, they dropped the trailer just now for The Acolyte. Star Wars The Acolyte, and it's on YouTube. So I'm going to react to it today while you guys watch here. And again, it's on the Star Wars channel on YouTube. And the description here says, "No one is safe from the truth. The 2-episode premiere of The Acolyte, a Star Wars original series, arrives June 4th on Disney Plus." So the trailer, the description here doesn't tell you a lot, which is good. You don't want to get too much information. Although usually they'll tell you a little bit about the director, who the director is, start naming names, who the stars are that's going to be in it. So I'm assuming from this that there was a trailer that they dropped earlier, a teaser. And I ended up not watching that. I was going to react to that, and I ended up not doing it. So this is my first time seeing anything official about The Acolyte. I didn't watch that original one. But anyway, and I heard a few things about it, but again, that's all behind the scenes and unverified. So what I know from right now is basically nothing, other than there are rumors that it takes place in the High Republic era, which is way like hundreds of years, up to thousands of years before the current era that we grew up watching Star Wars in, with Anakin Skywalker and then Luke Skywalker and forward. But the latest I heard is that it takes place about 100 years before Phantom Menace. So that would put it about 132 years before the original trilogy, the Battle of Yavin, which is the original Star Wars movie. And so, completely different era. This is going to be completely different characters. There are obviously characters that were alive during that period that we're familiar with. Yoda, obviously, was around for the beginning of the Old Republic and the High Republic. And that was, Yoda's like, 1,000 years old when he died? Over 1,000 years old, I think. And Chewbacca also was very old, hundreds of years old. I'd have to look up to find out the exact numbers. But anyway, this is in a different era where most of the characters, if not all of them, are going to be brand new to us. Probably brand new actors, no-name actors and actresses that we're not familiar with. And that's probably why we're not hearing a lot about promotion, about who these actors are that are going to be in this. If they were like big name actors and stuff that we would recognize, we'd probably be promoting the crap out of it, saying so and so's going to be in it to get people to draw in to watch it. But anyway, let's go ahead and check this out. This is the Acolyte trailer, dropped today, May 4th, on Disney for Disney Plus. Okay, and here we go.
Last night, a Jedi was murdered.
The Jedi was murdered. Studio, okay.
The Jedi
The younglings.
justify their galactic dominance in the name of peace. But that peace is a lie.
Okay, green lightsaber, so that's like Yoda.
Jedi are being hunted.
Okay, so somebody's hunting Jedi. This is before Darth Sidious.
Student, I trained her. Let me be the one to bring her in.
Okay, Jedi Master, Oriental type. I like that.
This is only a small part of the larger plan.
Slightly green skin on that character.
To tip the scales.
Face the past. No one is safe from the truth.
Destiny is not decided for you by an anonymous force. If you want to pull the thread and change everything, then pull it.
Okay, red lightsaber. So this is going to be either a Sith or a dark side user.
What are you?
Looked like they were wearing a mask. We didn't get to see who that was. The Acolyte 2 premiere episode June 4th. Disney Plus. Okay, this trailer looks interesting. The effects look good. The filmmaking, the production design looks good. The concepts they're putting here about the Jedi, promised peace and yet they were unable to deliver, sort of thing. That's a complaint that a lot of people have about American society in general. Is that we strive for peace, and a lot of times, especially particularly when it comes to foreign wars. You think of Iraq, the wars in the Middle East, and nowadays you got the conflict with Iran and Palestine versus Israel and all these different things. America is striving for peace, and then you got these presidents that come in, and invariably they'll come out with their own peace plans and ways to try to bring peace to the Middle East, and a lot of times they end up backfiring. You look back to the Reagan administration with Iran-Contra, about how their controversial tactics ended up backfiring, and years later it ended up spawning some characters, that ended up becoming real threats. And so that's balance, again, Star Wars terminology. The Jedi seek is to bring balance to the Force. And when you talk about balance in those terms, you're balancing good and evil, and you're skirting the line between good and evil. And sometimes you're falling on one side or the other. And as we saw with the Clone Wars, the Jedi ended up siding with the wrong side, because the people, even though they had the best of intentions, the Separatists in the prequel trilogy, the Separatists were really the good guys when you think about it, because they knew that Count Dooku, and they knew that there was something up with this. The people behind the Jedi, not necessarily the Jedi were evil, but they were being manipulated by a force that was evil, and that was manipulating them, which ended up turning out to be the Sith / the Empire. And so that's a lesson, I think, for us all that George Lucas intended with his stories, is that we have to look between the lines and not allow ourselves to be manipulated by forces that pretend to be good when they're really evil. And so without going into too many specifics on that, in the real world, I think you get the idea politically. how that can happen. It's happened all throughout history. Anytime a dictator or an evil power rises in power, they get people to support them based on their lies about what they stand for, what they represent. And so sometimes evil isn't always in your face. It's not always a Sith Lord saying, I am Darth Sidious, I am or Darth Vader, I am your father, sort of thing. Sometimes Darth Sidious presents himself as Chancellor Palpatine, or Senator Palpatine originally. A guy that pretended to be good with good intentions and trying to save the Republic, when all along he was this force trying to destroy the Republic. Okay, but anyway, that seems to be a theme here, that people were complaining in the Acolyte in this series about the Jedi. They're basically repeating history. Where the Jedi ended up not being able to deliver what they promised in the prequel trilogy. You go back 100 years, and they did the same thing apparently back there. They promised big results, were unable to deliver, and dark forces arose, and now they're having to fight off these dark forces that were, I guess, fomenting behind the scenes. So pretty interesting. I'm not thrilled about the time period. I like the idea that they're set in a different time period, sort of. Because as much as we love our characters we grew up and fell in love with and stuff, one of the problems where I personally feel the sequel trilogy fell apart is they took these same characters, which we were all excited to see again, but then, they subverted our expectations and basically twisted and turned everything into something that it wasn't in the original trilogy. And basically ruined it, because the concepts that we grew up believing in, that the original trilogy inspired in us, they basically turned it around and twisted it for the sequel trilogy, and basically ruined it for a lot of the original series fans. By setting it in a different era where you've got brand new characters, it distances itself from those characters and from that legacy, the Star Wars saga. And so by doing that, they're able to create brand new characters, which I'm all for. If you want to take a franchise and set it in another era and start your own characters, that's one of the great things about Star Wars, is you go back to the Old Republic. There's some, in the comic books, there's some great characters and great stories to be told that are set thousands of years before A New Hope. And also, after that, they went into the future thousands of years and told stories about the Skywalker great-grandchildren and beyond, and I'm all for that. That's cool. But the problem comes with who's creating it. You give them too much leeway, and they're going to get, they're going to put their own agenda into it, and it's not going to be the same thing as we grew up with Star Wars. But I would prefer that over them taking characters that we know and love and retconning it and changing it and saying that didn't happen, now this is what really happened. No, I'm not on board for that. So the idea that they're going back 100 years and establishing new characters and new storylines, as long as they don't do like long-term standing effects that affect the original stories that we've already read and retcon them. I mean, Star Wars has done that in the past. They've had their original stories for decades that they came out with, and then when Disney bought it, they retconned everything. All the old stories. What was the one? There was the one that was famous where Thrawn was introduced, and Mara Jade was an awesome character, and what was it? The Heir to the Empire trilogy, where they introduced Thrawn and Mara Jade, and then of course, in the sequels, you had the original sequels before Disney took over. They had Han and Leia's children, which were completely different from the way they presented them in the movies when Disney took over. So Disney completely retconned the established story and relegated what we had grown up reading as those weren't canon, but those were just Star Wars legends or just alternate universe stories. And so, they do that. They retcon stuff all the time, and I'm not on board for that. I don't like retconning at all. Recasting, changing things that have already been established. I've gone on about this in the past. I'm not going to go on too much here. I'm beating a dead horse. But if they can set this in another time period and go ahead and give life to their own original characters, I'm on board for that. Another thing I'm afraid to see is with the way Disney and other companies, their writers today, movie writers, can't put out anything that doesn't have political undertones to it, and not just undertones, but overtones. You've heard the term woke. Everything is woke today, and it's disgusting. It's just, I would just wish people would just go back to telling good, wholesome family stories with positive moral values, and not have to go into introducing all the stuff that destroys societies, which is what they're doing today. They have been doing it for the last 10 years or so with Hollywood. And so I'm hoping they're not doing that, but I'm not holding my breath. That's why I'm leery about this series and anything else that Disney honestly puts forward. But anyway, I'm checking out Wikipedia. And for those of you that aren't familiar, it's not like Wikipedia. Wikipedia is basically anybody adds to it, and it's you can't trust it because it's not authoritative. It's just, anybody can change it and make it say whatever they want to. And the people running it a lot of times, they've got agendas too. So you put fake news and stuff on there, as long as it goes with their political bias, they'll let it go, slide on Wikipedia a lot. But Wikipedia is different. It's the Disney version of basically where they tell everything about the history and the lore and the background of everything Star Wars. So if there's something you want to know, Wikipedia is where you want to go to find the answer about Star Wars. So here I'm looking up their page on The Acolyte, and it's a live action series, 8 episodes. Each episode 60 minutes. It's on Disney Plus beginning June 4th. Creator is Leslie Headland. I don't know who that is. And then the writer again, Leslie Headland, Jason Micallef, Charmaine de Great, Jasmine something, and it runs off the page, and you can't read it. Okay, so Leslie Headland is the creator of the mind-bending series Russian Doll. I'm not familiar with that. So they're trying to give us a little bit of background on her, or him, whichever it is. But it's not helping me because I'm not familiar with that. Okay, so Headland will write, executive produce, and serve as the series showrunner. It will focus on the emergence of dark-side powers in the final days of the High Republic era. Okay, so it's in the downfall of the High Republic era and the emergence of dark-side powers. So this would be the beginning of the rise of the Sith, it sounds like. It says, official description here. The Acolyte is a mystery thriller that will take viewers into a galaxy of shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers in the final days of the High Republic era. A former Padawan reunites with her Jedi Master to investigate a series of crimes. But the forces they confront are more sinister than they ever anticipated. Okay, here's Leslie Headland, the showrunner, says, quote, I think you'll see more morally ambiguous characters than you've seen in other Star Wars content. And I think I can say this pretty confidently. I don't think you're going to see action in other shows the way that you see it used and utilized in our show. I just thought it was very interesting to do a show about the bad guys, and to set that during that period made the most sense. Okay, so, more morally ambiguous characters than you've seen in the other Star Wars content. Well, I don't know about that. I mean, Star Wars is full of morally ambiguous characters. I mean, obviously you start with, the heroes in A New Hope and in the original trilogy. You got Han Solo, is the ultimate morally ambiguous character. Well, outside of Anakin Skywalker, let's start with Han. He's a rebel. He's a rogue. He's in it for the money. He's a pirate, and so he's not necessarily a good guy, but he has good values. In a sense, he's got a good overall heart, but he allows himself to, let's say, skirt the lines between morality. He'll cheat somebody, he'll rob somebody, he'll steal, he'll do morally bad things in order to accomplish what he sees as the greater good, which isn't a good thing. When it comes to ethics and morality. But then throughout the series, you see his transformation from a rogue into a hero. And so he was never really an anti-hero, but he was kind of ambiguous. Then you've got Anakin Skywalker, I think really the ultimate example of this in the series. Started out as a young child with great ambitions, great hopes, wanting to save the universe and the galaxy, free all the slaves, that sort of stuff. But, he allowed the dark side to influence him and turn him through his fear, through his anger, through his hatred, all these things that Yoda and the other Jedi warned him about, and yet he wouldn't listen. All these things led him to the dark side, and so he turned to the dark side in order to try to accomplish good. And I think, who was it? Was it Martin Luther King said that you can't, quoting scripture, or paraphrasing scripture, that you can't destroy darkness. You can't destroy darkness with darkness. You can only destroy darkness with light. And so, by going to the dark side to fight the dark side, is self-defeatist. It doesn't work. The only way to fight darkness is with light. Fight darkness. Say that 3 times real fast. The only way to fight darkness is with light. And so that's a biblical concept. I like that. But that was something that was big in Star Wars also, that they tried to teach Anakin, and it ended up being his downfall because he didn't realize that. And so, and then ultimately you see his redemption in the original trilogy in Return of the Jedi. But anyway, morally ambiguous characters. Star Wars is full of them. So with them with her saying this, that there's going to be more morally ambiguous characters than you've seen in other Star Wars content, that concerns me a little bit. I like the idea of morally ambiguous characters if you do it like you do with Han Solo and Anakin Skywalker and Boba Fett, as we saw. He was a morally ambiguous character, especially in the Book of Boba Fett series and in The Mandalorian. You see characters all the time that are morally ambiguous, but they did them in a way that helped reinforce positive values and good morality, ultimately. And so I am concerned that they may end up presenting characters in a way that makes us lean toward that moral ambiguity, or lean toward the dark side of that balance instead of the light side. Because you can't skirt between the light side and the dark side. That's always concerned me about the concept of balance in the Force. You can't balance the light and the dark. I mean, well, you can to an extent. There's a good thing in anger. There's a good aspect to it. I mean, you think scripturally wise, biblically, Jesus himself experienced anger. When he overturned the money changers' tables in the temple, for example, that was an example of righteous anger. The Old Testament is full of examples of the prophets with having indignant, righteous anger, and that wasn't necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes it was, but there's a good side to anger if you use it correctly. And when I do my interview by the way, in addition to this, on my channel, I do a series we're starting up called Conversations. I've got an episode upcoming where I'm going to interview Darren Sims, the author of the book Jesus versus superheroes. And I'm going to ask him about that. I'm going to talk with him about the moral ambiguity between characters. And I might even bring up Star Wars as an example, even though he's focusing on the Marvel universe. So check that out for the live stream when that comes on. Subscribe to this channel to get that notification when that happens. But anyway, the moral ambiguity, I fear that they're going to present it as a way of trying to balance the force. And I don't like, I always worried about that concept of balancing the force as if they were trying to balance good and evil. You have to choose one side or the other. And that was Anakin's downfall. A lot of time was he was basically trying to balance good with evil. And it's not his fault. I mean, really, that's what the Jedi taught him, is that you want to try to bring balance to the force. Well, does that mean a balance between good and evil? No. True goodness has to extinguish the darkness. True light has to extinguish the darkness. And true goodness has to extinguish evil. You can't compromise with it. That's my own spiritual viewpoint on that. Sorry for the traffic. Where I differ from the theology of Star Wars. But anyway, I've been going on here for almost half an hour. That's too long for one of these episodes. But anyway, what do you guys think? Are you going to go see this? I think I'll check. I'm definitely going to check it out. I'm a little bit apprehensive about it, but I'm going to give it a chance. I always try to give Star Wars a chance because I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I'll give it all a chance. I'll check out at least the first episode. If it goes downhill, I may stop watching it. But I'm definitely going to check out the first episode. It looks promising. It looks like it could be good, but I don't know enough right now at this point about the director, the writers, and what direction I expect it to take. If this was something that was done by Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, I wouldn't worry about it at all. Because if anybody can do justice to the Star Wars franchise outside of George Lucas himself, I would say it'd be those two, Filoni and Favreau. They've proven that with their foray into the Star Wars universe with the Book of Boba Fett and the Mandalorian and everything else they've been involved with, the Clone Wars, all that kind of stuff. These are two people that love Star Wars, they love the franchise, and anything they do with it is going to try to make it better instead of trying to destroy it as some of the other creators, which shall remain unnamed. You know who they are. But for now, they'll remain unnamed. But anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you do, hit the like button. Comment down below. Let me know what you think of this trailer. What you think about what I talked about today. What do you agree with, disagree with? Give me your 2 cents worth. And I'd like to learn from you just as much as I like to share my input with you. So comment down below. Subscribe to the channel so that you'll know when we add new content, especially when we go live, so you can join in on the live chat, especially like when I'm doing one of these interviews on my conversation show. If you're watching during the live broadcast, live stream, you can communicate with the author that I'm interviewing and ask him your own questions. Wouldn't that be cool? But anyway, yeah, like, comment, subscribe, share the channel with your friends so we can get more subscriptions. And if you want to, I mean, that's all I really ask. But also there will be a link in the description below to my PayPal. If you like what you see and want to see more, you can, but you don't have to. You can donate financially to support the channel. Just do it through that PayPal link. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you next time. Everybody have a great Star Wars day, free comic book day, and may the 4th be with you all. Thanks, guys. Bye.